What is up, Husker Nation? Welcome to another episode of What Just Happened here on the Big Red Nation channel. My name is Jason, and welcome. I know it's a little bit later, but hey, we're gonna have a good time. This is the bye week show, so we're not gonna quite get into the Michigan State stuff, even though I have a little bit touch on it some point today or within the show. That we will dive further into maybe say Thursday, Friday, and we'll do that more actual preview show either Thursday, Friday. But right now, we're just kind of go over what just happened over this whole weekend. We're going to talk about all the games overall in college football. We're going to maybe even talk a little bit about the Michigan game again, a little bit, just maybe now that we've had a little bit more time to distance ourselves from the emotions of the game, talk about a little bit, maybe just kind of talk about, I guess, maybe the macro of what that game meant and the games this weekend, maybe what that helps that discussion look like. Okay. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about I think we're going to chat a little bit about the discourse on Dylan Raiola. Matt Rule mentioned this on his Monday press conference right after the Michigan game. I didn't have a chance to comment on that, so maybe we're going to talk a little bit about that. Something else we're going to talk about. We're going to start off with this. And it's not like I'm going to talk long about it. I don't have like any in-depth thing about it, but I would be foolish to not mention this, and that is the unfortunate passing of Matt Verzal. Matt Verzal, obviously a former Husker, a business owner in the Omaha area with Pisons. Was a high school football coach, a mentor to a lot of kids. Not just the kids that he coached, but the kids that worked for him at Pisons and many other things. He was a media guy, podcaster, a lot of things. I'm not going to sit here and act like I knew him, because obviously I didn't. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm really grieving. I mean, it sucks. I think it's clearly a huge loss for the Omaha community. I've never lived in Omaha. I've been there a couple times. So I just don't want to be disingenuous about it. But just as a longtime Husker fan, I started listening to him 3-4 years ago with his podcast. At that time, he was still with her dad, as far as like his podcast goes, and he had like a producer with them. I think the last couple of years, it's just kind of been him with the whiteboard and just kind of doing it himself. But every time that I listen to Matt, man, like, dude's insanely knowledgeable. He was a guy that I would sit there and, during different coaching searches and everything else, like I would go, hey, if you're looking for an offensive line coach, I might look at hers. Yeah, and sometimes, whenever you do watch and listen to people's podcasts, you kind of start to feel like you get to know them personally after a while. Just because like it feels like you get to know their actual personality sometimes. And it's not with everybody. Sometimes people come off as very inauthentic. very rehearsed, very I don't know, yeah, just inauthentic. And so for those, it just feels like you're watching a broadcast, right? You just feel like you're watching just a show. I never felt that with Verse. Even whenever he would do guest spots as a media guy on, Herd at or the Ticket, 1620 Zone, for any of the shows on the radio show, or any podcast that he would just pop up on, or whatever he was doing. Never came off as inauthentic, never came off as rehearsed. He was giving his just honest, truest opinion, and he always came off as super knowledgeable. And just off of that's a huge loss for Husker Nation. From everything else that I've seen on social media, talking about Verse and what he did for the community of Omaha. Yeah, that's a tough one to see. Don't know any story behind it. That sucks. I don't know what happened. He's 51. Man, that's young. Like this year, I just turned 40. Like 51 does not seem that far off. So that sucks. That really sucks to hear. Whenever you get to this certain age and you start hearing people passing away at an age that's close to you, man, that's just number one, like you hurt for that person and the people that know them, but you also started kind of like getting, hey, knock knock, and you're going, oh, man, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, I mean, I got to start off with that because I think needs to be remembered. I know it's been a couple days now. I'm a little late to the show, if so to speak, but still, like I I I got to bring it up. Got to talk about it. Don't want to give him any disrespect or non-remembrance just because. Um, got to keep his name alive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just want to start off with that. I don't know. I don't know how to segue off of this, but we're gonna do that. So, yeah. So, all right. Let's just kind of jump in. Let's talk about the games that happened this weekend, and just kind of help what games happened this weekend. Kind of help set the perception, maybe now, of what we thought about the Nebraska game against Michigan, and maybe kind of help set a different perspective on what we think we have as a Husker team going forward on the season. So we're going to share a screen here. All right. So let's start off on Friday night. I think Husker Nation had a lot of interest in this game. We saw Virginia unranked, even though they were 3-1 going into this game. Florida State was 2-1. Or no. They would have been 3-0 going into this game. Against Virginia at 3-1. Right? And Florida State in overtime lost to Virginia. All right. So right off the bat, Friday night, man, we had two ranked teams lose. Right? And everybody had Florida State, right? They went from unranked to like, I don't know, what, 15th, and then just kind of kept moving up to 8th because they beat a bad Alabama team. And we'll get to Alabama later on. but they did. They lost to a bad, or they beat a bad Alabama team. And you know what I love to see is the fact that, you know, I know a lot of people might say this is kind of petty from Nebraska fans, but I don't really care. Um, I love seeing it. I love seeing the shit on social media just dumping. Because look, these kids are getting paid now. I don't care. These kids are getting paid now. James Williams is going to talk shit all summer long and press conferences, kind of go out his way to kind of, I don't know if you want to actually say it's talking trash or talking shit, but he's kind of poking digs at Nebraska all summer long. And this dude is still like yet to put up any freaking stats. And after the Michigan, and look, I wouldn't have said anything, but after the Michigan game, he was like, "Oh, I bet you wish you had me." Oh, to not put up any stats? He put up no stats, and all these Florida State fans still like hate you now because you were just garbage. Whatever, like Terrence Knighton season you, I do not know, my guy. Do not know, but he does. He sees something in you. Anyway, we're gonna move to Saturday's games. Ohio State versus Washington. Man, Washington kind of put themselves out of the game right off the bat. And it was kind of thanks to Jed Fish. Jed Fish kind of pulled a Bo Pelini right off the bat. You know, and the very first one, that sideline, not even warning, but the flag on the sideline interference. They even went back and not reviewed it because the refs didn't review it, but the broadcast did. And yeah, I mean, Jeff Fish has a right to get mad about that. But at some point, whenever your team is already that deep in their own yardage, you know, like already deep next to the end zone, like control yourself a little bit. Control yourself just a little bit. But instead, you didn't. And you went out and charged after a ref again. And you got a personal flag, whatever they called it. And set your team even further back. And I think between the sideline interference flag and the personal foul flag on the coach, yeah, you set your team back to not even compete. And I think actually Washington had a chance to compete because if you look at the final score, like I said, 24-6, I mean, it wasn't that huge of a victory. I mean, it was decent, obviously, right? Because if you were going to sit there as a Ohio State fan, you're going, yeah, no, we dominated them. We only let them have 2 field goals. Sure. But you're Ohio State. You should beat them like 42-6. And so, but as we go down, see Oregon and Penn State. This game was awesome, man. Oh my gosh, this game was very good. Watch this whole game. You know, there's a lot of discourse online. It's talking about, you know, like James Franklin just still can't. I don't think this game had anything to do with coaching. Penn State lost because Oregon just happened to make a play. Penn State coaches actually made a lot of corrections and adjustments, started doing the right things to make a comeback. Just so happens that it went into overtime, and then in the second overtime, Oregon just made a play. That was just Aller making a wrong read and throwing a bad pass. That had nothing to do with Franklin. Had nothing to do with James Franklin. So, Penn State fans, don't be trying to get rid of Franklin. All right. Speaking from experience here in Husker land, you know what you got. got a good coach. All right. At some point, he will break through. He's going to have the right guys on the field, and they'll break through, and they'll make the plays, and they'll win these games. And then, and look, they could do it this season. Again, I think all teams that might have these weird games can point to Ohio State from last year, because Ohio State from last year probably should have lost to Nebraska. They ended up losing to Michigan, but then just turned it on in the playoffs and just ran roughshod and won a national championship. Penn State could be that team this year too. You never know. So Penn State fans, just word of warning: don't be asking for Franklin's firing, okay? Because yeah, this is different college football, and one loss does not ruin your season anymore. 2 losses might barely ruin your season this year. So just keep hoping James Franklin can get over the hump, you know. Then we look at LSU versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them pretty good. Ole Miss kind of dominated this game for a while. Lane Kiffin doing his thing. Alabama and Georgia. I don't know how Alabama somehow wins this game and holds on without scoring in the second half. But everybody's going to now sit here and go, well, Alabama just beat Georgia, so Alabama's got to be like a top 5 team. No, they're not. I think Georgia just kind of shit the bed. Indiana and Iowa. This game, I watched this game. This game was actually entertaining to me because of just how this game. This was another just Iowa game. Your typical Iowa game, but somehow at the end, in the fourth quarter, Indiana made the different plays to win this game. So Iowa 3-2 now. Love to see it. I don't know, just yeah. What else we got here from the weekend that was? The USC Illinois game. Man, 32-34. And everybody kind of wants to all of a sudden say, oh, Illinois, I guess they're the team that we thought they were. I don't know. Did you watch the game? Because I don't think so. Because I still don't think USC is as good as everybody kind of was like wanting to say that they were going into this game. The toughest game they had so far was against Michigan State at home. They played against like Missouri State. All right. Like I grew up around that town. I grew up in Nixon, Missouri. Okay, like 5 minutes outside of Springfield, which is Springfield, Missouri, is where Missouri State's located. Missouri State, formerly known as Southwest Missouri State. I don't know. Maybe my perception of that program is bad, and maybe they're a better program than that. But I don't think so. The Bears, Missouri State Bears. Yeah. Like I can just tell you, kids that lived around there, like we would much rather go play for Pittsburgh State, Missouri Southern. Yeah, we'd rather go play for a lot of different other teams around there than Missouri State or Southwest Missouri State at the time. And maybe the program's gone better. I mean, obviously they've now upped themselves up to the Conference USA. But yeah, no. So USC beating the hell out of them is not like a surprise at all. And like that, they haven't really beat anybody else. You know, their biggest one, like I said, was against Michigan State. It was also not like, if you go look at the different rankings within what they can do on offense, what they can do on defense, it's not great. And we'll get in that more on my preview show later on this week. But okay, they haven't really beat anybody. And Illinois is a good team. Now, did I ever think they were ever should have been ranked ninth in the nation? No. And Indiana kind of proved that. And I don't even know if Indiana's as good as that game showed either. But regardless, Illinois ain't that great, and Illinois then beat them. Really bullied them for a while. And then for a few plays, USC was kind of able to out athleticize them, if that's a word. But I'm going to make that up. Out athleticize them, and could make a couple big plays. Couple make really just some nice catches from Mekhi Lemon. Jacoby Lane. Late in the game, he started playing more and had a couple nice catches. But again, we're going to dive into this here in a little bit. But USC doesn't scare me as much as they did earlier in the year. Notre Dame whooped the hell out of Arkansas. Now Sam Pittman has been fired. Looks like Bobby Petrino will be the interim coach. Then we had BYU that was down early, came through like a hero that they are, and beat Colorado. So, all right. So that was the top 25 stuff. Football this weekend. So those are all the scores. Now, what did I watch this weekend that had me thinking, what's that mean? What does this look like for this Husker football team? And to be honest with you guys, I still think this Husker football team is right there in the mix. I do think this Husker football team is a top 25 football team. Right now, if you were to really kind of pigeonhole me, I'm going to say they're anywhere between like the 18th ranked to 25th team ranked. Somewhere in there. I watched the game again last night for like the third time. And, I just kind of really solidified everything that I had originally thought. Our defensive line did not get manhandled as bad as a lot of people want to say that they were. Our linebackers and secondary missed some run fits. Missed a lot of run fits. And specifically, obviously, the ones that turned into long runs. And that doesn't even include the Bryce Underwood one. Bryce Underwood's run, man, they just out-schemed us by motioning out a wide receiver that took one of our backers out, left the fucking middle of the field wide open, and he just did the delayed quarterback draw, gone. I mean, it was a run all the way. That was a run play. And he just kind of delayed a little bit and just gone. And so hopefully that will be corrected. That's what I'm hoping for. In that, I only looked at the top 25. So in the weekend scores or weekend games, one of the weekend games that I watched was the Kansas Jayhawks versus the Cincinnati Bearcats. That was a fun game to watch, and Cincinnati won. Again, Nebraska's their only loss on the year. And not only that, like Brandon Sorsby in the air, it's like been phenomenal. I think I just saw today Cincinnati Bearcats was celebrating the fact that Brandon Sorsby is the highest rated quarterback in college football right now. Like on the season, he's like a 92.5 QBR, I believe. And he's thrown for 300 plus yards in, I think, 2 out of the 3 games. The other one was like 280 or 250 something. He's been phenomenal. and Nebraska held him to 67 yards passing. Okay. And again, holding Michigan to 105 yards passing. Like that's phenomenal. This is really good work. All right. I don't like us as Nebraska fans should not be shitting on that. Okay. These guys have been really, really good. So again, watching that game, watching the USC Illinois game, Indiana Iowa game, watching the Oregon Penn State game, I might get a lot of people that disagree with me, but Penn State does not scare me anymore. They don't. There's nothing that they do that I feel like we can't match up with. Now, their defensive line could be that. That they would be the closest thing to what we saw from Michigan. And they should. They should be. But there's been a couple games now against gosh, who they face. So they face Nevada first. All right, hold on. I know you can't see this. Okay, Penn State. Okay, it was FIU. I know they won 34-0, but they struggled early with FIU. Yeah, that was the game I was thinking of. So they struggled early with FIU, and I was watching. I was actually really surprised that they were struggling as much with them, and they weren't doing anything. Again, you look at the final score. That sounds like a blowout. But if you actually go back and watch that game, uh, they struggled. And FIU got some pressure, and they kind of moved the ball. Again, FIU could have just been them overlooking, but then you want to say, oh, they were, but who are they overlooking? Villanova? Because Villanova is their next game. Who are they? Like, they were overlooking two people to get to Oregon? Yeah, maybe. That is a possibility. But, that could be a game now that, it's so far down in the season that Nebraska could be getting better. And that's what kind of like, if you're a Nebraska fan, that's what we should hope, that we're just going to kind of keep better, get better and get better and get better and get better. And hopefully that'll develop into the fact that maybe then we go on the road to Penn State and Happy Valley and we can at least put up like a fight. Now, does that fight end up in a win? I don't know. Does just end up in a very close loss? Hey, I'll take that, to be honest. I know, I guarantee you would hear me in a post show going like, and I'm mad or whatever. But stepping back very, very far from the emotion of that, maybe I'll go, okay, though it was close, I'll take that. They're like a top 5 team or whatever. I'll take that. But yeah. All right. So that was the weekend that was. What I think that means for Husker football going forward, I see a lot of opportunity for Husker football. Today Matt Rule spoke to the media, And he had a couple of interesting quotes. I haven't watched the whole media scrum, but I did see some quotes be posted on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And so the two things that I saw were the fact that he mentioned we've got a good plan for running back two, but we're not going to disclose it. There's two things that I'm thinking. One, RB2 is going to be Heiner Carberry because we saw how good of a runner he is. From the quarterback position, he's a really good runner. Maybe that's what that will be. My other thought is it could be the return of Jamarian Parker. It's kind of been hush hush for a while. Some of the innuendo and rumor from the Husker media has been like, coaches aren't very happy with him. Maybe he's having some academic and personal issues. It's probably not going to be the first time they're wrong on that type of reporting on a player. Maybe he just had like a little nagging injury, and since they weren't reporting on it or talking about it as far as the coaching staff went, the media just ran with the whole fact that, well, it's probably a behavioral issue or something like that. I can be the first time they're wrong about that. So I think it's either Heiner Carberg or maybe a Jamarian Parker is finally back and ready to go. Or maybe like a Connor Booth, Vincent Genatone, and have, the running back two is going to be like a just straight up bruiser, an Isaac Dickey, something like that. And then you also mentioned something about, we've got an idea for our tackles. But again, we're not going to talk about it. To me, that means Elijah Pritchett is probably going to be starting left. Gunnar Gatula is going to be starting at right. Prohaska is going to kind of be the swinging tackle. And Corcoran is going to be that extra tackle that comes in with the tight end number 89 and will be the chipper that kind of helps push off the Russians. Also saw today that Michigan State mentioned that one of their top rushers is going to be out for the game, could be out for about a month. So that also plays into our benefit going into this football game. Again, I'm going to dive more into all this in my preview show coming up on either Thursday or Friday. So yeah. Trying to think what else. Anything else big from this weekend? Let's see, hold on. Let me see if I put any notes down. Nope. That's the old one. All right. Yeah. So I think it's all we got for today. Trying to think last minute if I got anything else. No, I don't think so. So, all right. That's all we got for today. Join in either Thursday or Friday. I gotta look at my schedule again. I want to say probably gonna be Friday. Look out Friday. I'll have my Michigan State preview show out. We're gonna go over that, and on that episode, watch out because I've been playing Cornfield on Fire on a couple of these episodes. I might have a new song and a new music video playing that day. So, hey, be on watch out for that. yeah, might join in, show a few more pictures of my weekend that was for the Michigan game that weekend. Might have a few more pictures to show. See if I can get them uploaded and get in here. So anybody that's been enjoying the show, please go follow me right here at this X handle BRNPOD25. Go follow me on X. So you can stay up to date on whenever I might go live, might not go live. Watch me live tweet during football shows. Please go rewatch any of my shows that I've already put out there. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, notification bell, do all that stuff that all the creators love that make you do. Because hopefully I want to push this channel forward and do enough of this channel to put back into this channel and make this just better quality for you guys. Not only that, maybe be able to do some collaborations with other guys like Corn Craze or the No Block No Rock guys, the Big Red Junkies, Nick Baugh, Adam Carricker, Will Compton, anybody else that's out there. I would love to do a collaboration and combo shows and prediction shows and have these people as guests on my show or be a guest on their show. Any of that type of stuff. I think it'd be awesome. It'd be really cool. So the only way I can kind of do that is if I get views up, I get subscriptions up, I get likes up. And so please like this stuff, share it to all your friends, family, whoever. Going forward, that's what I would love to do. And again, tune in. Probably gonna be Friday. Let's go ahead and shoot for Friday. And if not, then you'll be surprised and it'll come out early on Thursday. My preview show for Michigan State and what I think is going to happen with this football program going forward. On that show, we'll actually look at the remaining schedule and maybe not do a full-blown prediction, but maybe kind of where I'm feeling going forward. Again, I think I kind of give it a little bit. None of these teams scare me. None of these teams make me feel like, oh, it's definitely a loss. So it's a little bit of a sneak peek of what my thoughts are going to be on this show coming forward with the Michigan State preview show. So until then, Husker Nation, go Big Red.